It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Several times throughout this study, I have stated that the beast refers to the carnal nature, while the image of the beast refers to the carnal mind, resulting from this carnal nature. The first is true, but I now realize that the second is inaccurate. Let me explain. Through the years that I have studied the book of Revelation, I discovered that there are many times when different symbolisms and contextual descriptions refer to the same thing. As an example, consider the lake of fire. There are 4 occasions where the phrase lake of fire is seen, and one where lake which burns with fire and brimstone is found. But what many don't realize is that the lake of fire is described in Revelation 14:10 and 11, and is also the main point and content of the 6th trumpet. How do we know? Due to the presence of fire and brimstone in Revelation 14:10, and the fire and the smoke and the brimstone in the 6th trumpet. Since the lake of fire is a lake of fire and brimstone, then it makes logical sense that any reference to fire and brimstone is a reference to this lake, regardless of where we find it in Revelation. What else would it refer to? When we delve even deeper into the understanding of the lake of fire, we find that it refers to the 5th seal, the souls under the altar, and their cry for judgment and vengeance. For more about the lake of fire, see part 4 of my series, 3 Hells. Like the lake of fire, the image of the beast also points to something when we consider the context. We have already identified the beast rising out of the earth in Revelation 13:11 as the false prophet. So it's the false prophet telling those who dwell on earth to make an image for the beast. It then gives breath to this image so that it can speak and cause those who do not worship it to be slain. No doubt, this is highly figurative language, so we are challenged to think beyond the surface of these explanations. When I reconsidered the fact that it's the image that speaks and kills those who do not worship it, I did a 180. Please consider, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you would not. See, your house is left to you desolate. Who did Jesus say killed the prophets and stoned those sent to her? The city of Jerusalem. As we learned, this Jerusalem corresponds to the religious system of the Jews, that is, the Old Covenant and law of God in Paul's day. Since it's the image of the beast that speaks and kills those who do not worship it, then the image denotes Babylon, for we are told the following. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. When I saw her, I marveled greatly. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all who have been slain on earth. Compare Revelation 18:24 to what Jesus said to the Pharisees. Therefore, I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, some of whom you will kill and crucify, and some you will flog in your synagogues and persecute from town to town, so that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on earth. Do you see the correlation between Revelation 18:24 and Matthew 23:34 and 35? Babylon is the image of the beast. Consider what Paul wrote in the following. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God. But woman is the glory of man. Woman is the glory of man. This word glory corresponding to the glory of both covenants, for as we know, they are symbolized by Abraham's wife and concubine, Sarah and Hagar, respectively. Though the covenants were first made with Abraham, the glory of these covenants came through Hagar and Sarah. Hagar represents Babylon, while Sarah denotes the woman clothed with the sun. Both covenants are accounted for. Now here's where it gets really interesting and quite revealing. And by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The image? It's for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The King James renders this as an image to the beast. In other words, this image reflects the beast. Which beast does this refer to? The first one, the great red dragon found in Revelation 12:3. How do we know? Because the wound refers to the war in heaven and the throwing down of the dragon in Revelation 12:7-9. This took place when Jesus declared the religious system of the Jews as desolate. And the phrase, "and yet lived," this points to the fact that this religious system and its spirit of error did not go away, but continued forward, even after the time of Christ and the apostles, not only in a literal sense, but even more so in a spiritual one. Remember, the first covenant denotes our entrance into the wilderness to be tested and humbled, while the second represents the grace of God that is with us as we traverse this wilderness. The two covenants define the twofold work of the living and active Word of God, typified by the cross. Look once more at the following illustration. Let me emphasize this point. The old covenant law is not the problem, for the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. Rather, it's when we, like the Pharisees, judge and condemn those who do not agree with the religious mindsets we have developed, especially our traditional views. Consider what the prophet Isaiah declares in the following. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, those who lead you cause you to err and destroy the way of your paths. No doubt, there is still more to consider about Babylon, so be sure to join me in the next study as we continue our examination of the great harlot.